Longboat Key, Florida, is renowned for its pristine beaches, stunning sunsets, and the promise of a perfect tropical getaway. For Mary and Robert, a couple from Indiana, a relaxing vacation in this sun-soaked paradise seemed like a dream come true. Little did they know that their idyllic retreat would turn into a horrifying nightmare that would forever change the way they viewed the world. Mary and Robert arrived at their Airbnb rental, a beachfront condominium with high hopes and excitement. The property, a luxurious haven with panoramic views of the Gulf of Mexico, was everything they had ever imagined. A beautiful start to what should have been a perfect vacation. Upon their arrival, they were welcomed by a hospitable host who gave them a tour of the property and left them to settle in. It was a balmy evening when they stepped into the lavish living room, their hearts filled with anticipation for the days of relaxation ahead. However, it wasn't long before their dreamlike escape turned into a chilling ordeal. On the first night, after a delicious dinner at a nearby restaurant, Mary and Robert returned to their rental and made themselves comfortable in the cozy living room. As they were getting ready to unwind, Mary noticed something peculiar: a small, blinking red light on a bookshelf. At first, they dismissed it as a harmless electronic device. Perhaps, they thought, it was some part of the condo's security system. But their unease grew as they realized that this tiny red light wasn't just any device. It was a hidden camera, strategically placed behind a stack of books, its lens pointed directly at the couch where they had been sitting. Panic gripped their hearts as they began to suspect the unthinkable. Someone had been watching their every move. With trembling hands, Robert retrieved the camera and examined it closely. It was a sophisticated, inconspicuous device, designed to blend seamlessly into the surroundings. The implications were terrifying, and the room that had once felt like a haven became a chamber of dread. The couple decided to investigate further. They checked the entire condo, room by room, and their worst fears were realized. Hidden cameras were positioned throughout the property, including the bedroom, the bathroom, and even the kitchen. Each camera was meticulously concealed to evade even the most discerning eye. Their sense of violation was overwhelming, and the sanctuary they had hoped for had transformed into a nightmarish maze of surveillance. Mary and Robert grappled with the realization that their most intimate moments and private conversations had been captured on camera. Fearful and enraged, they contacted the local authorities immediately. The police arrived promptly, and an investigation was launched to determine who was responsible for this invasive intrusion into their lives. The search for answers began, and the couple's vacation was abruptly shattered. The authorities traced the hidden cameras to the condo's owner, who had been remotely monitoring Mary and Robert's every move. The owner was promptly arrested, and it was discovered that they had been surreptitiously filming guests for an extended period. The extent of the violation was far more sinister than anyone had initially suspected. This shocking incident sent shockwaves through the Airbnb community and served as a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance and privacy when staying in unfamiliar accommodations. The couple, while relieved that the perpetrator had been apprehended, could never fully erase the memory of their violated privacy. Their harrowing experience prompted them to become vocal advocates for greater transparency and safety measures within the short-term rental industry. They had learned the hard way that even in paradise, darkness can lurk, and the line between a dream vacation and a chilling nightmare can be frighteningly thin. The story of Mary and Robert's ordeal continues to serve as a chilling reminder to travelers worldwide. Be cautious, vigilant, and aware of the horrors that may await in the most unexpected places. It's a stark reminder that in an age of technology, our desire for privacy must always remain paramount, even when seeking solace in paradise. The rugged wilderness of Big Bear, California, had long been a haven for nature enthusiasts and adventure seekers. Its towering pines, serene lakes, and rustic cabins offered a perfect escape from the chaos of the world. For a group of friends in search of a memorable getaway, the promise of a secluded cabin in the woods seemed like the perfect way to spend a weekend. However, what they discovered in that remote cabin would forever haunt their memories. The friends, a close-knit circle of 5, arrived at the cabin on a crisp autumn evening in 2014. It was an isolated retreat, nestled deep within the heart of the forest, far removed from the hustle and bustle of city life. The cabin, they thought, was a charming blend of vintage charm and rustic appeal. But as the night descended, an unsettling aura enveloped the place. The first sign that something was amiss came when they entered the living room, the heart of the cabin. The rustic decor was interrupted by a series of odd symbols carved into the wooden beams, symbols that appeared to be occult. Pagan sigils, intricate pentagrams, and other sinister markings adorned the walls, as if the cabin itself was a canvas for a sinister artist. A sense of unease hung in the air as the group explored further. In the kitchen, they found animal bones scattered on the floor. It was a chilling sight, as if some macabre ritual had taken place within the cabin's walls. Their imaginations began to run wild with dark possibilities, and fear crept into their hearts. As they ventured deeper into the cabin, their dread intensified. In the bedroom, the walls were adorned with messages written in what appeared to be blood. The words were cryptic, an unholy scripture, and the symbols were beyond their comprehension. Their hearts raced, and the air grew colder with each discovery. The friends debated their options, but their intuition urged them to leave the cabin immediately. With a sense of urgency, they gathered their belongings and fled into the obsidian night, their flashlights cutting through the forest's inky blackness. The rustling leaves, once soothing, now seemed to whisper malevolent secrets. It was a mad dash for safety as they raced to put distance between themselves and the nightmare they had uncovered. After reaching a nearby town, they reported their terrifying encounter to the local authorities, who were as perplexed as the group about the sinister scenes they had witnessed. They contacted Airbnb, the platform through which they had booked the cabin, and shared the disturbing details of their stay. Airbnb, quick to address the matter, initiated an investigation into the cabin's rental history and the host's background. The host, however, claimed ignorance, insisting that they did not know the cabin's disturbing decor or its previous occupants. The investigation revealed a perplexing void of information, leaving more questions than answers. In the end, Airbnb refunded the group's money, offering them a sliver of solace. But the question that haunted them remained. What exactly had transpired in that cabin before their arrival? Who were the previous occupants? And what malevolent forces had left their indelible mark on the isolated retreat? The friends, forever scarred by their nightmarish experience, couldn't shake the feeling that they had crossed paths with something beyond their comprehension. Their Big Bear getaway, meant to be an adventure in the wilderness, became a descent into an abyss of darkness, a harrowing reminder that the world can be a far more enigmatic and sinister place than we dared to imagine. To this day, the truth behind the haunting cabin in Big Bear, California, remains shrouded in mystery, a chilling enigma that will forever torment the friends who dared to step into its chilling embrace. My name is Jane, and I've always had a penchant for solo travel. The thrill of exploring new places by myself has always excited me. And so, when I stumbled upon a secluded cabin nestled deep within a dense forest on Airbnb, I thought it was the perfect opportunity for a solo adventure. Little did I know that this trip would turn into a nightmare that still haunts my dreams. The cabin was a quaint little abode, newly decorated with a rustic charm that instantly captured my heart. The online photos had promised a serene getaway, and as I entered the cozy space, I couldn't help but feel a sense of tranquility washing over me. The crisp scent of pine trees permeated the air, and the only sounds were the distant chirping of crickets and the rustle of leaves in the wind. Everything about the cabin seemed perfect, except for one peculiar detail: the owner. The entire booking process had been carried out through the app, and I had never interacted with an actual person. It struck me as odd, but the allure of the remote location overshadowed any reservations I had. After settling in, I decided to take a stroll around the forest to soak in the natural beauty. As dusk settled in, I returned to the cabin and lit a few candles to create a warm ambience. The silence was almost deafening, broken only by the crackling of the fireplace. That's when things took a chilling turn. I began to hear faint footsteps echoing through the cabin. At first, I dismissed it as my imagination playing tricks on me, but the rhythmic sound persisted, growing louder and more distinct. It was as if someone was pacing around the house, just out of sight. My unease heightened as the steps seemed to draw closer. Suddenly, an aggressive banging on the front door shattered the silence. Startled, I jumped to my feet, heart pounding in my chest. A voice, desperate and urgent, yelled for me to open the door. The plea sounded frantic, almost desperate. I hesitated, fear gnawing at the edges of my mind. Then, silence. The abrupt stop left the air thick with tension. I strained to hear any sign of the mysterious visitor, but nothing followed. Just when I thought the ordeal was over, a soft, haunting cry filled the air. It was the sound of a woman weeping, a heartbreaking lament that echoed through the stillness. As I stood there, shivers running down my spine, an inexplicable chill enveloped the room. I could feel a cold breath against the back of my neck, sending a wave of terror through my entire being. Terrified, I slammed the door shut and retreated into the bedroom, locking every entrance. The atmosphere inside had shifted. I could sense a presence, a malevolent force that seemed to move through the shadows. Throughout the night, strange occurrences continued. Unexplained whispers echoed in the stillness, and objects shifted on their own accord. I could feel eyes watching me from the darkness, a gaze that penetrated the very core of my soul. Sleep was elusive, as the room seemed to come alive with ghostly activity. Shadows danced on the walls, and an icy breeze swept through the room, extinguishing the candles. The air was heavy with a sense of foreboding, and every creak and groan of the cabin became a sinister melody. As dawn broke, I fled the cabin, leaving behind the haunting memories of that night. To this day, the mere thought of that isolated Airbnb sends a chill down my spine. The forest, once a symbol of serenity, became a haunting ground for something beyond the realm of the living. A cautionary tale for those who dare to wander alone into the unknown.